and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Unpredictable Marge, and I am here with some friends today for Therapy Friday. 15 million of Americans are suffering from this. We often have it all mixed up. Depression. Depression is more than just being sad. Depression is more than just you going through something and get over it. So my friends and I are here to talk about depression. I have my assistant to my left, my sonager here, and my chief. Bunch of people are here with you today. We're going to debate this topic. I hope you're ready. Guys. Yaya, chief, what's good? Like, let's really talk about it. I mean,
That's a sad and sensitive subject for me. I've had people basically take their lives. I always tell somebody, if you ever feel like you're in that necessity or in that mindset, to please look for somebody. There's a helplines that have for you. There's friends that you have that sometimes you forget about that could actually guide you through that. There's also a lot of professionals that can help you, but sometimes at the moment that you're having that, it's usually not a business hours, and you got to look to what enlightens you. And please don't think that alcohol or drugs are going to help you, because they just work temporarily and sometimes work reverse, which make you actually act on certain things that you're thinking about. I guess for the mindset, I guess I can share a story with you, and I won't go into names, but I had my nephew, and he was open, successful model, homosexual, and because him not being accepted by his father, because his father, old school, just don't think that a man could be that way because they're not born that way, just backwards way of thinking. Obviously we know better because we live in a different era and we kind of experience all of that. So he could not accept him for that, and he got into a big depression to the point where he ended up taking his life.
oh wow. Oh my God.
That's something that I really don't want anybody, you're watching this, you could think about it. It's a friend, always reach out to somebody. Don't ever think that you're worthless, because you're not. Every human being is worth something, and God wouldn't put us on this earth if we weren't. And we should never think about anything so dark. But I mean, unfortunately, it does happen to us because we go through our, periods of being happy, being sad. I just feel like enough of us don't ask each other, hey, what are you doing? What movie did you see? Yeah, how about, how do you feel? How are you? No, I'm fine. No, I really want to know how you are. It's not that I'm fine, because fine, anybody can tell you that.
Right.
But sometimes a lot of people don't like to open up because they just don't feel that the person gives them the opportunity to open up.
Right.
So my whole thing is ask the question, because it's important. And even for your partner sometimes. Like, a lot of people got the misconception too, because they're in a relationship or they're with somebody, or whether it be a family relationship, and because you see that person all the time and the person looks happy all the time, sometimes they're not. It's a facade. It's almost like an acting game. Like, you're being put on a camera, so you have to act a certain way. Don't do that. Don't be real to yourself, and be more real to your friends, your family members, and ask the question, because it doesn't hurt if you ask. At least if you ever feel that way, you can always reach out to me. That's important to hear. And I think some people just don't hear that enough.
One thing that you said that actually struck out about where, you can be going through a depression, not even wanting your friends to know about it. In 2013, I actually went into a major depression. A lot of people see me, they're like, oh, this girl is always super bubbly, that she can't be depressed. And I'll never forget that, I won't go into a long story, it had to do with, it was job related. I had lost my job, and I had in my mind what kind of job that I think I should have. And I was going through these interviews, and I couldn't get an employer to offer me $75,000, and I was totally bummed. Like, everywhere I go, it'd be like $60,000, and I was looking at my bills, I was looking at the stuff that like my purchases, what I like, and I couldn't find a job. I was going through it. I totally went to a major withdrawal. All I did was slept. My daughter at the time, even her, she felt it. I'll never forget, we got into a huge argument when she said to me, I want to go live with my dad because all you do since you lost your job, you don't want to go out, you don't want to hang with your friends anymore. All you do is just like sleep. I could not get out of bed. I could not do anything. And my daughter's a little spoiled because I was able to like give her things. Now that I am on this constraint budget, I've been out of work for like 7 months, and the jobs offers that I was getting was just like not going to cut it for my expense. So I would sleep. And one friend reached out to me one time. He would come to my house. I would hear the bell ring. I would never enter the door. I would not go party. And he knew something was wrong with me. And then he was like, I was at your house. I rang your doorbell and I saw your call. You didn't answer. Finally, I decided one day to answer. He said, Marge, here. Listen, I'm not here to fix your problem. I can't fix your problem. I am just here to listen. Just give me an opportunity to listen. I'll never forget those lines. That was my friend AG who did that. And his wife kind of took me under their wing where they will have me over their house. And then, we would have drinks. We would have like food. It was so major, crazy things went through my head. And it wasn't because of, your typical thing that, you're not being, accepted or being bullied. Here I am trying to look for a job and I can't find a job that paid me $75,000. And I was bummed by it. The bills were coming, piling up. My hair started falling out. I was fighting I was so stressed. My mom was like, yo, you better shake it off. I couldn't shake it off because it's just like, I couldn't get the job. And I just feel like, yo, what's the point of me? And I remember going through it. I was like, what's the point of existing? Because a $60,000 job wasn't going to cut it for me. It wasn't going to cut it for me. And I was like, yo, I need to make at least $75,000. That I look at my bill. I look at my parents. I look at people I got to help. And I was just going crazy. I felt like I didn't want to live. I went through that.
I think it comes because you feel almost like, because of society makes you feel like you're almost worthless.
Right.
So, and then you know what your worth is, and then you were getting offers, but they weren't what your worth was. And then you knew that financially you couldn't commit to something like that because you would just put yourself in a bigger hole. And kudos to your friend for reaching out for you, because if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be talking to Marge right now. And this is why we say that you should reach out. And there's a lot of things that a lot of people, like I went through a depressing time. I remember I had 3 shoulder surgeries, and I felt useless because I'm a workaholic. So it's not working at work, I'm working at home, or I'm working for a friend or whatever. Right. But I love to work. It's just like in my DNA, and it's like I'm having that hard time thinking like, when I retire, what am I going to do? Because I'm thinking about not physically working. So. And it's hard, and I know, but my depression came from my mother had passed. My mother was not the greatest mother to be with, but regardless whether, and I tell you what it is, regardless whether your mother was good or bad, she's still your mother. You can't change her. Right. Regardless. So my whole point is you always try to make amends with the people that you have in front of you when you have them, because there would be that moment where you won't have them, and then you'll have that void. And then you'll feel depressed because you didn't reach out or you didn't speak out what you felt. Whether it be a good thing or a bad thing, there's always a constructive way of doing it so that they at least understand you. Me and my mother got into some crazy arguments, but she understood where I came from, and she knew that she didn't do what's best for her. And the reason I got into depression was because I didn't want to mourn her. And the longer that I progressed that, I felt like I was slipping into a depression, but I didn't understand why I was doing that. Mm-hmm. A friend came over and he says, hey, I heard you want to like redo your mother's room. And he was like suggesting this and that. And I woke up one day and I grabbed the sledgehammer and I went at it.
Wow, you were releasing.
And then they called the cops on me.
Wow.
I had the cops come to my house saying that they thought somebody was trying to break in, because all you heard was glass breaking, wall. I mean, I went at it. And that's how I ended up finishing the room in the back. But it was so therapeutic, and I really didn't understand it at the time. And then my friend was there, and he was like, "Yeah, like go ahead, like," because it wasn't that he was wanted me to express my violence, but he wanted me to let it out.
Right.
And he saw what it was doing to me.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Let it out, like let it out." Even when the cop came, he was like, "No, sir, we're fine. He's just, that morning." He goes, "Yeah, but neighbors complaining, and everybody's, scared, and is he okay mentally?" I said, "You can talk to him if he wants." And the cop, points to the side, and he did his, his routine, because they got to go through a routine to check to see if you're mentally stable. If not, they want to, "Hey, come on, we're gonna take a 3-day vacation and put you in Bellevue, for observance." Which is not a bad thing too. If you need that, and you get to that point, you need professional help. That's never a bad thing. The bad thing is not allowing yourself to be helped.
Yeah, recognizing it for what it is, and a lot of things people seem, I guess they don't realize is that depression. It's more than when they say it's more than a sadness feeling. It's more than a sadness. You could be sad over something a week or 2 weeks, and after that it goes away. But when you're like find yourself that you're constantly like you're sad, you don't want to get up, you don't want to eat, you're so angry, and there's so much like going on with you for over a 2-week period of time. You gotta really look into it. It's more than just sadness feeling. I myself right now, I worry about my mom. I think my mom is going to somewhat of a bit of a, serious depression too. I mean, I think the doctors are kind of like on top of it, because my mom was so used to doing everything, vacationing, go to Haiti for 2 months, for 3 months, or whatever. She's not able to do that, and she's not coping right with the fact that she has a pacemaker, she's diabetic, and she is no longer a young spring chicken. She's having a hard time with that, and she falls into depression where she comes hard on us, but it's really because she can't deal with the current situation. She is no longer the mom she was before. She is 76 years old, and as she get older, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. She is, I feel, because sometimes the way she speaks to me, the way she deals with me, and I'm like, oh my God, the way this woman is because she's really going through something. So, I mean, I bring here friends who are real people, nothing is staged, just to talk about some of these things, because hopefully you'll hear our stories and you'll look at your situation, you'll look at your friends, and try to really understand the current situation that you're in. It is very hard, like he says, some of the situation that you're in will need, professional help, but it's up to you to really acknowledge, okay, I'm more than just sad. This sadness is not going away. It's lingering. And sadness is not supposed to linger that long. What about you, Spade? Any? You have to have stories, because I know you had your mom who was very vibrant.
I wasn't in a depression with my mom. I was very stressed out with my mom. Mm-hmm. And being the fact that I was pregnant, it was hard, because you have to carry this body that had ALS, that no longer could move, could no longer stand up. So you're 5 months pregnant, carrying a body up, putting the body on a toilet, taking the body a shower, because her body slowly was deteriorating.
Right.
I was not in a depression at all. I was just very stressed out.
Did she fall into depression?
My mom definitely fell into depression. As soon as she lost her voice and she couldn't vocally express herself, and she wasn't eating, and I think the fact that she knew that she couldn't go out with me no more, we were very close.
Right.
That really upset her. She got a big anger towards me. Mm-hmm. I mean, a couple of times she hit me.
Right. Yeah, they say that. They say one of the stats.
Yeah, she had ALS with dementia. So the dementia, I guess, took a lot of aggressiveness in her. I mean, I remember being pregnant, and my best friend came over, and she just started hitting me. And she knew I was pregnant, but obviously she was upset. So, but I had a great group of friends, a great group of family. I had a great support system. I had you, I had Louis, helped me through that. But it wasn't a depression. I think after she passed away, I had my son. And I think maybe a little bit hit me, just like, okay, so now she's not here. I have to take, I'm here with Jackson. Not a depression though. I definitely want to say stress, but I think people confuse too stress with depression, because stress can also trigger you, making you feel like you're not able to do anything anymore. You fall into depression. A lot of people cannot handle stress, and they fall right into a depression. I had a cousin, and we thought he was well. He was a football player in high school, and everything was well. My aunt came, his grandmother, to talk to him. All of a sudden, that next morning, I was leaving to my honeymoon. Before that, the day before that, we got a phone call that my cousin just killed himself. So me and my cousins all gathered together. We went to where he lived. Apparently, he was on the A train on Fort Washington, and it shows the train coming, and you see him contemplating, and he just jumped right in front of the train. And
did you guys know he was battling some type of something?
We didn't know, because he was always, like Bobby said, people are happy and people are smiling, but he did kill himself. It was due, from what we gathered, his girlfriend. He was arguing with his girlfriend the day before. She had text messages, and I guess she told him like, whatever, go kill yourself. And he was like, he wrote back to her, I love you, like, whatever. He went to see her, she didn't want to see him. So, my cousin wanted to fight her, because they feel that, she triggered him, because she's like, oh, kill herself. But I think she just figured it was just, figured of speech. She wasn't thinking he was going to do it, but he did it. That was really sad for us. We didn't think that a young boy would kill himself, but I mean, jumping in front of a train, that is, I don't know, you have to have big ones to do that, because I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I would ever want to be in that predicament. I think one of my depressing moments of my life was 18 years ago. I was involved with someone, and I was very into this person. This person was a person that was the love of my life at that point, which I thought was love. And I found out that he was with someone that was very close to both of us. And I caught him one day doing something to himself that I was just like, what's going on? And I don't want to get too much details about it, but it was due to a relationship issue, and I found out that he was involved with someone that me and him were very mutually, we knew very well. And I mean, that took a very big toll on me. And I remember asking him, like, what is this? Why is this happening? Like, you and me, we're together, we have 4 years. And I remember him putting, covering my mouth, throwing me on his bed and telling me that if I said this to anybody, it would be a big problem. So I remember that day that I just was like, all right, cool. So I left and I went to my mom. And my mom wasn't there at that time. My mom left to freaking Florida. My aunt, which is like my mom, left to Puerto Rico. I was dealing with that by myself. My best friend came, and I lost a lot of weight. I think I went down to about 90 pounds.
How did you come out of it?
I think a depression of relationship is a really hard one. It really was. It was very difficult for me. I wasn't grasping how a man that I've been with for the first time sexually was feeling it was okay for him to
deceive
me, and after everything I've done for him, and be so supportive with his family, and of course love his family as if it was mine, because they were my family. Depression, when it comes to a relationship, is very scary. It's a scary thing, because you don't feel that you can do better. You don't feel like you can move forward. You don't feel that you're worthy.
But you eventually did. What did you do though? You got yourself out of there. You're talking about it now.
My mom came from her vacation. My aunt as well, and we had a good sit down, and I told them everything that happened, and I mean, they were very shocked, because it was someone that we didn't think that would occur. And I got out of it because, one day I just woke up and I was just like, what? There's other people out there, and I'm not gonna just keep on. I mean, I wasn't eating. I was like about 125. I dropped to like about 90, 85 pounds. I was bad. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to talk to nobody. And thankfully, my best friend and my pimpettes, which I call my little clique, and my mom, they helped me. And I mean, I think that's the worst. I want to say that's my worst situation of my life when I can say that I went through depression. I didn't want to kill myself. That was definitely not something that was in my mind of killing myself. I wanted to like just sit down with him and ask him like why, you know, where did I go wrong? What did I not do? What happened here? You know, do you really think that this was okay? Like, is this something that you should have done? I mean, it's questions that I'm never gonna have answered, nor do I need answers anymore. At a point in life, you know, I found a great man, and this man has supported me gratefully, and he's been there for my mom when she was dying, and I'm married to a wonderful man, and you know, he's actually shown me what true love is. And relationships are not always peachy; they are difficult. But when you have someone that you love betray you in such a manner, it's just like, it's horrible. A lot of women can't handle it. A lot of women fall into depression because they feel like it's okay to deal with things like this.
Mental
Depression. Yeah, mental.
Mental, and then we'll go into the. I mean, I'll let you finish.
Men as well.
Oh, men. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Men as well, because I do want to jump, because that's something that a lot of us kind of lose track of. I guess when we become older and we experience more relationships, we kind of understand. Because in the beginning, when we're kind of young and our feelings are being manipulated, we feel like we have worth, like people give us worth.
Right.
And really, nobody's supposed to give us worth. We're supposed to, it says we're supposed to give ourselves self-worth.
Right.
It means we have to love each other. Well, you gotta love me before I can love anybody.
Absolutely.
So if you don't love yourself, and this is where a lot of us look for people to kind of fill those voids, because we don't understand that we have them into that void is filled by the wrong person, and then it flips on us. And then we try to do damage control, but a lot of times we're so depressed and we're so angry, and a lot of times we're not even angry at the person. We're angry at ourselves for allowing the person to get to that point.
Yeah, but you can also, how do I say it? At times you can carry the past
into your current. Right.
And then that's a bad thing, because honestly this person has nothing to do with what this person did, and you have to check yourself. And at times I've had to check myself, like, I don't know why you're reacting this way, because this person didn't do anything. It was this person. Now I have to talk to myself and say, you have two options. Either one, you go and confront this person yourself, let it all out and find out what's going, or you learn how to completely let it go, hold it where you need to hold it, you know, because you know it's something that, first time I even speak about it like this in a camera, but you know, it's something you have to, it's better, I feel that depression can get better when you speak more about it to people.
Absolutely.
If you keep it in and you just say nothing's wrong with me, nothing's wrong with me, nothing's wrong with me, you're not helping you, you're not helping those you love. And once you see people that you love around you suffering with you because they're trying to find out what's wrong with you, and you just keep on saying, I'm okay, that it affects the whole circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talking about it more, you don't realize it, but it is good therapy.
Let me tell you, you just hit it right on it. Like, okay, I've had several relationships. None of my relationships ever really have me fall into any depression. It's almost like, okay, it is what it is, it's over with. But there was one man that I had a relationship with. We were close, we were friends. And this man was a married man. He was my friend. When that came to an end, I had to go get help. I'll never forget. I would leave work and I will go and have a session, an hour with a shrink. It was important for me. I felt like I needed to sanitize my soul because I got in so deep. There were things that I was doing in that relationship. So I fell into depression not so much because it was the end of the relationship for me. It was the amount of things that I did in that relationship. I wanted to just like, I wanted to wash up.
Exactly.
And I went for 3 weeks and I would just talk to this lady. She would just let me. It was paid, you know, obviously it was paid. I went through my HR and looked this person up, and right there on 7th Avenue, and I sat just like you saw in a movie, you know, with a little bit of lamp, a little bit of light, and she sits in the corner on the sofa, and I had the sofa to myself. I had to do it in order to overcome that situation. I won't go into detail, but it was a lot of toxic.
I mean, it's just because of the fact, because relationship depressions are hard. It's not because you're suffering over the person. You're suffering like I did so much. Like,
Yeah.
I put my heart into this.
This was me.
This
Yeah.
was me. Like, what the heck? What happened? Like, what, like, is this, you're frustrated because you're not understanding. Like, we went through so much. I put up with so much. I
Yeah.
personally put up with a lot of stuff that my mom would be like, Yadira, you're crazy.
Right.
But I love this person so much, and I love this family, I didn't care. You know, so it definitely takes a toll on you. I didn't go see a shrink because, I mean, I was in my early 20s. I was like, I'll get over this.
I was
But
in my
once
early
I started,
30s.
once I
Yeah.
started losing a lot of weight, it was very like, okay, my
I
mom was
wasn't
like, okay, we're
sleeping.
not eating.
I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, I just didn't have an
Not sleeping.
appetite.
Was not. I couldn't
No.
sleep. I just couldn't. It's almost like I couldn't stand myself. Like I did that, and then I did all of that thinking that me and this guy was going to be, you know, together. And then when it was over, it was so bad to the point that I gave up myself to the married woman, and I felt like I needed to cleanse. So when I spoke to the shrink, she was like, do what you have to do. Speak out. Speak up. Like, do it. And I had to. And this is what kind of really helped me be this
Who you are
beast
today.
that I am today. You know what I'm
And
saying?
exactly, there's a scar like that. Like, you know, when with the flip side of what I went through with this individual made me want to empower other women. So I started a social club, and in that social club there's
Yeah, the
women all
banging
over the
social
ages.
club. Yeah,
Right,
I got to see
and
a
with
little
that
bit of
social
that.
club, I push forward women who were in domestic violence relationships, who had depression of themselves, who didn't love themselves. I was able to push these women to move forward in life over a man, over anything, and have them understand that life does go on. Do I hate that person now? I don't hate the individual that hurt me. I just feel like, you know, hopefully one day, maybe not now. You know, my husband knows, and my husband is he's like, you know, if you ever feel like you have to, then go ahead. But to me, it's like, I'm the type of person that have this bad thing. If I disconnect from you, I disconnect. And then it's like, I can just keep pushing forward. I just feel that sometimes a lot of women can't push forward from it.
Right.
And a lot of women do kill themselves, or a lot of women deal with a man that's beating on them because they're like, I can't do better.
Right.
You know, I had a friend that one time we told her to go out. She said, okay, I'm going. And I remember my homegirl hit me up and she said, listen, she's not opening the door. I'm like, well, keep knocking. Once they pushed in the door, she got some guys from the downstairs. Our friend was dead. The guy, her boyfriend beat her up. He strangled her. He had a sock in her mouth. He had a tie,
Oh my God.
and he killed her. And I mean, and that was just like our thing. You know, I've seen so many things happen in my life.
As a youngin, I know you're the young one. We've had a lot of experience.
Louis hasn't gone through that, he says.
But
He's
I
alone.
know, but like, you're the young one here. You're barely 20 something. I mean, like, have anyone close to you gone through?
I mean, here's the weird thing. Growing up, it's always been extremely different for me. Why? Because I have 2 other siblings, and I've always dealt with older people. I've been in the workforce since I was about 16 years old. I worked in hotels, but obviously hotels are surrounded by older people.
Okay.
I'm the type of person who's I'm an observer. I like to watch. I see what people are going through, and I learn from it. So my sister, she had like her first real boyfriend that she had that I knew about. Her and my mom didn't see eye to eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
So there were countless nights of tears, crying, screaming, this and
But that's the regular stuff.
yeah. So I observed these things. My brother, he had extremely and ridiculously amount of unsuccessful relationships, and I observed from these relationships. So this whole time, when I'm going through my stuff, I'm reminding myself, hey, this happened to my sister, this happened to my brother. Eventually, one of these things may happen to me, or it may not happen to me.
I see.
So I have to brace myself for when it happens to me.
Okay.
So that's more or less of how I've gone about my life. And
You've had
to this
preparation
time,
for it.
I've been prepared for most of the things. And one of the things that I keep very crucial in my life is I think of my life like a marathon. So if you ever watch the relay race in the Olympics, a marathon, the relay race, they have a baton. So in the baton, there's usually a set of 4 people. It could be even longer, but typically you run, you take the baton from the starting line, and then you pass it on to the next person. At some point, you're gonna be carrying that baton with another person. So that's just like your life. At some point, you're gonna have somebody else around you to help you out in life. And
Yeah.
then that person is gonna let go.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay,